in perhaps the most disgusting teams I have ever seen on my grace my screen before, we have the All-Star game for season 2, and that Never Back Down team looks so disgustingly gross. I am scared for what we are about to witness in terms of raw damage potential. um, Get Good has a decent looking roster, but man, Never Back Down I think is going to dominate this 4-0. Roadhog, Mauga, Bastion, Zen all being on the same team is the most despicable thing I've ever heard of, and it sounds like a super team made of last year's team of a fusion between Logi Swords and Krusty Crushers. That is disturbing to look at. On the other side, Get Good is also equally disgusting if it wasn't for the beast on the other side. We have Ryan, Orisa, Junker Queen, and Soj all on the same squad, which means Soj will have that shield, and Orisa is crazy. We know how crazy all these heroes are. However, Never Back Down is disgusting, and I think it will dominate this matchup, but we're going to play it anyways, best of 7, just like the tournament game. This is the prelude before we hit the grand finals, which will be... as we know, it will be Moldy Milkers versus AI. But I'm excited for this. We're going to witness something truly despicable on the side of Never Back Down. So if you don't remember the reps, my team, Blazing Magi, is being repped by Sojourn. I didn't really want to pick Sim. Probably could have been a better choice, maybe, but I thought I'd do Sojourn respect. She has been basically an eternal part of my team since I've traded Krusty Crushers for her last season. She's just been always there, pretty much always my top performer. However, Ryan, obviously coming from Rush Hour, Orisa, No Diff Unks, Queen coming from the Logi Swords. On the opposite side of the table, we have the Hog coming in from Moldy Milkers, Mauga coming in from that struggling Krusty Crusher squad, but Mauga is still an excellent hero. Bastion coming from AI, none other than AI, and Zen coming from the struggling Microfish. But once again, even though those teams are struggling, those characters are so unbelievably good that Never Back Down's roster looks like a super team. I am fairly concerned for how Get Good is going to handle themselves with that Discord. There is a lot of health. Hog taking the Roadhog for a long charge. However, the Zen plus the Bastion. Oh my gosh, we are witnessing the super team of Never Back Down. So last season, Get Good did win this show match. And this is looking like a revenge arc here from Never Back Down. The team is insane. Okay, the funny thing here is that parts of the team are kind of similar. There was Ryan, Orisa, and Sojourn on the Get Good side last year as well, so they maintained 3 of those pieces. However, the other side is just absolutely disgusting. Are you witnessing this? Mauga, Hog, Zen, Bastion, this shouldn't be legal. This is like a war crime. Okay. When I saw what the All-Stars were for Never Back Down, I was like, yeah, this is Kearns, bro. This is disgusting. It is just a show match after all, but it is proof that Never Back Down has gotten way better from the past year, and in fact, they are also not only in control of the All-Star match, but currently they are the only teams in the finals. They did just upset Rush Hour to end their playoff run. Moldy Milkers did. Sojourn able to pick up a kill. Hey, you know what? I will take that. Sojourn cleaning up a kill for my squad. Proving that, yeah, she's still pretty good. She's still pretty good, even as her team is getting completely manhandled by this absolutely disgusting team on the other side. That is probably just going to be it. Here comes the damage. Bastion pounding some shots into the Sojourn? Question mark? Why? All that's left is Soj here, and she's not going to be able to do much. 100-0. This is pretty much expected. The Never Back Down All-Stars roster is absolutely despicable. It is disgusting this year. The draft picks they got are insane. These are all on the same side of the bracket. Of course, I did trade over that Malga, so I am partially to blame for this this major dystopian team that has been constructed. And this is just proof that Malga, yes, he is good in 4v4. The problem was his team this whole season has just been middling on trash. So it's not Malga's fault he's not in the playoffs this season, in my mind. Same story for Zen. It's just the matter of the teams that they have been constructed around haven't been exactly great. Alright. However, this Never Back Down team is truly like probably one of the best 4v4 teams you could possibly make. It is the true epitome of disgusting. However, Arissa able to find a few trades here with this Sojourn. I'm actually surprised. Okay. Sojourn Arissa putting in work. You know, maybe I overestimated. Maybe I'm overestimating this side a little bit. However, Arissa and Soj getting the job done there. I'm going to take the first point control here, so a little bit different here for Get Good. Although, man, that Never Back Down roster is just so disgusting. It's like looking at Season 1 over bots. Okay. This other team is pretty... Okay, so a trade will happen. Zen for Soj. Pretty good trade, all things considered, for Get Good. And it looks like Get Good are actually going to clean up a little bit on this point. So that first point made me think that this was just going to be as one-sided as I was thinking. But here, Get Good putting up a little bit of a fight. Like I said, Sojourn in that last, or 2 fights ago, was doing pretty good, solid work with her Arissa. So they are managing to keep themselves in this Ilios map. Have to see if they can hold it down, though. For the Get Good division, Queen gets hooked. Zen going to fall. He's going to trade out the Rhine, though. Sojourn getting 2. Sojourn getting 3. My goat. My goat is helping out so much in this fight. Thank you, Sojourn. Proving my point about how she is a very solid hero. Who's just been on my awful teams. Up to 85%. Get Good and Neva Back Down are going to re-engage on this. Zen and Sojourn getting extremely low. They are going to be the first to fall again in this fight. Bastion going to go down. Queen falling too. However, Ryan and Arissa are left on this point against this Malga. Malga's going to be able to take out one. Malga's fighting this Arissa. But I think Arissa just wins this. So we are going to be heading to a third point. Alright. Alright. 100-0. 100-0. I was kind of expecting the Never Back Down to run away with this, but hey, that looked a little close. Could be a very interesting matchup here. Of course, these are rosters that we will never, ever see in Overbots. Mostly because I don't think anyone would trade to make these absolute super teams. But they are fun to watch go up against each other, which is why I host the All-Star bot game. But I really thought the disgustingness of that Hog, Malga, Bastion, Zen was going to overcome a lot of what Ryan, Arissa, Queen, Sojourn could throw at them. But so far, pretty even matchup. 100-0 on both of those points. It's just mattered who got the advantage first, it felt like. This one I think is going to favor this squad again. So I think the Zen squad should make short work of Get Good. I believe Never Back Down will have the edge on this point with the hole. Although I guess, yeah, see, that was Rhine kind of fed a little bit. Some trades, though, and Mauga jumping in the pot will actually lead. Wow, okay, Sojourn getting 2. Like I said, my goat, she's popping off. Actually will lead to Get Good capping the point here, so they are pretty solid. I mean, I guess it's pretty disgusting on the side of Get Good as well. These are true all-star teams. So, Sojourn going to be traded out immediately. That's not an ideal circumstance for Get Good, but they are going to take out Neva back down Zen, and then the Hog. Bastion's going to go down next, so actually... Oh, Mauga just jumps into the hole again. He's done that twice already in this map. Not ideal from the Mauga at all. So this could be 100-0 on the second point. Suddenly, even though the roster on the opposite side does look disgusting on paper, it is heavily struggling against this Ryan, Orisa, Queen, Soj comp. I think Soj, like I said, I think Soj is one of those DPS that gets a little bit underrated sometimes. I think she's quite good. Obviously not as good as your Bastions or your Torbs, who are the opposing... one of them is on the opposing team, but... I don't have very many good heroes on my team. I only have, like, Sim and Sojourn, so I had to pick one of them. And I like Sojourn more, so... Okay, 80% in building. Here comes Bastion. He does have his turret form up, which is a little bit dangerous here for the Get Good squad. Zen gonna come in and feed a little bit. Bastion gonna go down. Orisa fighting this Hog. So at the very least... Maybe if Neva Back Down is going to have the championship this season, at the very least, maybe Get Good can hold on to their All-Star Game championship lead. They won last year too. Last year they won 4-0. However, like I said, the other team is also a very strong team, so gonna be a lot to overcome. I really thought their team was more disgusting, but somehow Get Good on this Ilios map actually did a very good job at beating them. So Neva Back Down's all-star team, while looking immortal, isn't quite as good as I had anticipated, I suppose. We're going to Esperanza next. Esperanza, however they say it. Either way, this is going to be a push map. Should be an interesting one here today. Obviously, the Neva Back Down team is very good, and so is the Get Good team here today. So I'm wondering if we're going to see some maps going back and forth here. Would be nice to see an exciting series for the All-Star match this season, as last season it was kind of... well, it was kind of obvious Get Good were going to win the entire time with the 2 tanks versus the 2 DPS and the support. Wasn't exactly a great show match last season. However, this one is shaping up to be kind of a banger, as these teams are stacked. Does see very good to me to see that Queen and the Reinhardt reuniting. They were on Rush Hour together in Season 1. Fairly formidable foe of Season 1. They didn't quite make it to the finals, but they were a decent team all throughout. Rush Hour was a lot better this season. However, they unfortunately took a dip against Moldy Milkers in that lower bracket final. And wow, okay. This is so interesting to witness, because we're watching what would have been probably a top team in 3v3 getting kind of diffed by this new age Get Good squad. Like, the other side would be dominating if it was 3v3, but it seems like Get Good has something special cooking with this roster. Ryan is a very good tank, we know this. Orisa is also a very good tank, we know this. Sojourn is a pretty solid DPS. Not exactly a top tier, but very much solid. And Queen is extremely good as basically a damage dealer. No DPS are represented in this. Actually, Sojourn. Sojourn is, my bad. Sojourn and Bastion. So no like pure supports are though. Zen is basically a DPS. I'm being dumb. I don't know why I said, Bastion's a tank. Let's be honest. Sojourn, she's an honest DPS, but the only reason she's here is because I have no one better to put in. Okay. Zen going around on the outside. He is going to get low, so Orisa is traded out, and Bastion just actually making short work of these tanks, killing all 3 members. Actually, all 4 members, because he does take out Sojourn at the end, too. I don't know why I said there was no DPS chat, I'm not going to lie. Brain fried. We are going to see Neva back down, starting to make a push here on Esperanza. They have been very formidable in this show match so far. Of course, they lost Ilios, though. Bastion able to pick up that Queen. Sojourn looking for the Bastion, not able to find him. She will go down, however, Bastion's going to fall too. Orisa's trying to put in some work, but just not going to be able to do enough here against these 2 tanks and the Zen. The Zen does finish off the Orisa here, so going to start moving. A lot of ultimates online for the side of Get Good. They could make something happen here before the lead is taken over. However, by the time that happens, I believe Bastion should be back into this fight. We'll see, though. Bastion's going kind of a longer way. We'll see. Queen's getting in there very early. I don't know about this play. She's probably going to go down. Zen is going to get traded, though. Orisa's picking up the Malga into the ult. Going for a huge slam. And the Rhine absolutely pushes the Roadhog into the Orisa ult. And then proceeds to slaughter them both with a Fire Strike. That was beautiful. Okay. So Ryan and Orisa cooking up a storm there. Sojourn lagging behind her Junker Queen. She does have that ultimate ready as well. Queen, Sojourn, and Ryan all have their ultimates ready for the side of Get Good. Ryan gonna get laid out on his back. He is very low HP. He is going to fall. Zen might go down to the Soj in the back line. He is going to fall, but all that is left is Soj, and Soj not going to do too much against 2 very angry looking tanks with a lot of damage. As well as that Bash. Okay. As stated previously, a lot of ults online here for Get Good. I don't know if they'll be able to contest before Neva back down, take the lead on Esperanza. However, they are looking for a re-engage here. Queen going from behind. She might pop this ult. She does. She gets both the Bastion and the Roadhog in that ultimate. However, they're not touching the payload. They aren't going to be able to touch it, so the control will go over. Sojourn forced to back off as the rest of her team does get routed here. And Neva back down, proving why they are such a formidable force to be reckoned with. With this Roadhog, Malga, Bastion, Zen. Absolutely despicable core we are witnessing here. Get Good, however, might I remind us, is ahead 1-0 in this series so far, although Queen is just feeding. Sojourn going to touch this point for a little bit. Don't know if she wants to be up here alone as the DPS. Zen going all in by himself. What is that garbage? Absolutely diffing the Soj, the back line. There's gonna be felled here, and it's looking like Neva back down are gonna claim this second map in the series, making it a tie game, 1-1. So far, it's looking like they are going to do just that here. Bastion easily dispatching of Sojourn. Definitely the better DPS in that equation. Queen able to trade out the Bastion, though. Malga getting very low. He's half HP. Roadhog very low as well. He's going to get his ult cancelled. Malga's going to go down, and Zen kind of just wasted his trance here. Sojourn going to fight that Zen. Going to help dispatch him with the Rhine. And it's looking like Get Good are coming back into this one. However, Neva Back Down do have a substantial lead here on Esperanza. Both of these rosters with a lot of HP. However, the other squad is kind of in this odd situation. Neva Back Down are like wrapping around a little bit, going on a very long rotation here. Don't know if that's going to help them out too much, as Get Good is just kind of going past them. Ryan able to sustain, but he's very low. Zen getting kind of cut off from his team here. He will fall because of it. Malga and Roadhog also getting very low. Sojourn taking out both tanks and helping to take out this Bastion. Junker Queen will get the final blow on that one. And Get Good suddenly making a push towards the end here. Surprising twist of fate, Get Good is actually doing very well. But I guess they do have a triple tank roster, so that's something to keep in mind. It is very strong to have triple tank. As we know from Moldy Milkers. So, I guess Queen didn't quite get the memo of what the rest of the team was doing, as they all wrap around. Huge Ursa ult coming through, however, Ryan this time instead will not quite help. In fact, he kind of hindered that, but they still win. Surprise. Ryan's HP teetering on the edge here. They have to push it a little bit farther to grab this lead. I don't know if they're going to quite grab it. Malga's probably going to charge in here. Doesn't quite get the touch, so actually, Get Good will take the lead at the last possible second here, and now you're going to have to see this squad push all the way back here. Junker Queen's kind of in a bad spot, though. Who knows if she'll find her way back to the fight. She does look like she is going to go that way. Hopefully she doesn't engage too early on her own. However, it looks like the rest of her squad are looking forward to this fight as well. They are all getting kind of kited, though. This is not ideal. Get Good are getting very much kited. In fact, you know what we could see? We could see there be no fight. Ursa going to go in and die. Queen should be out. Oh, Queen's going the wrong way here too. So actually, we're just going to see them probably push the payload in and win. Never mind. But they took the lead. Neva Back Down did take the lead. So you're going to have to see a very similar thing happen. Very similar and odd thing happen here. So do Get Good manage to take this payload all the way back the other way? It's looking like maybe an odd rotation here from the Malga might result in a very similar thing here happening on the opposite side. This is some humorous overbots we are witnessing right now, as the same type of failed rotation happens by Neva Back Down as Get Good snakes this payload around. If they get off it for a second, though, they are going to lose. I don't think they will get off of it. They're pretty well programmed into holding this thing. Just a matter of, do anyone from Nova... No, they are not going to touch this thing. I think Get Good is just going to win this based off these odd rotations. Yeah, they will. What the heck, man? It is 2-0, Get Good in the funniest fashion possible. I am glad this isn't an official Overbots match, because if I witnessed my team do that, I would be mauling so hard. But that is a 2-0 lead for Get Good. By the way, Mauka still has not won a map in this season. Not even in the All-Star game. Uh, we'll see if he can turn that around here on Junkertown. In a very humorous display on Esperanza, we watch one team die, get kited around the entire point, have them barely touch at the end before Neva back down cap, and then Get Good does the same exact thing back to Neva back down, having them be weirdly kited through the map. And it just results in Get Good victory. So Get Good up 2-0 in this one in the most befuddling and confusing way we've ever seen in an Overbots match. These teams are so good, they're bad. So, Neva back down, preparing for this matchup. On the other side, Get Good, also getting ready. Around this payload, of course, we know what happens on these escort maps with these spawn camping omatics. We do know Ryan is on a team right now that is very good at these payload maps, so I'm wondering if that success will continue here. Sojourn gonna go down though immediately. Wow. That's a lot of damage popping out from Neva back down. They are gonna clean up this fight very easily. Very different than Esperanza so far. Zen getting a few picks off too. They will eventually start moving this thing, and that was a dominant performance from Neva back down outside the gate. So a very powerful all-star team who is somehow down 2-0. Flubbing a little bit on Ilios. Struggling here now. Or we're struggling on Esperanza. Almost came back and won it. And then all of a sudden just dropped the ball at the last second. Really funny match. Almost like neither team really wanted to win it. Zen gonna go down first here. Sojourn doing a lot of AD spam. Mauka doesn't quite eat himself off the map. Roadhog getting very low on this side. However, Orisa has to deal with two very angry tanks that are kind of hard to deal with, especially when you're Orisa, but Orisa is still somehow doing it. Okay, Sojourn versus Hog on point, however. Thankfully for this Sojourn, oh, well, okay. Not going to matter when the Zed and Bastion are back. Roadhog did kind of leave her alone for a bit there. They will eventually push this through the first checkpoint, though. Doing an excellent job on their push. Here comes the absolute despicable Neva back down squad. Going to dispatch of that queen very quickly. Now we're going to get the Sojourn. Reinhardt should fall down here soon. He does fall to that Mauga. Reinhardt and Orisa going to push in. Half HP. She is probably going to go down. Not long for this world. And Neva back down, just putting their best foot forward here on this Junkertown. Such a silly matchup we've had here today. Of course, this is completely for fun. There's no real stakes on the line other than saying, haha, my division's better than yours. But we are up. There's a 2-0 lead for Get Good here, although they are struggling right now on Junkertown. Not seeming to be able to get anything going on defense here. Gotta feel good if you are Neva back down to finally be tossing this team around after struggling with them for a little bit. Those two maps you would kind of like back. But here on Junkertown, you seem to be getting the job done. 5-minute time bank going into the third point is not too shabby at all. We do have a few ults coming up for both teams. Once again, Queen being the first one to fall in this fight. Sojourn able to pick up one, but she's going to fall herself. Mauga getting pretty low here. Orisa able to clean that up. Reinhardt looking at this Bastion, but he will eventually just fall Bastion going to put in some crucial work here for his squad, taking out both those tanks at the very end. See the amount of damage and sustain that you do have on the side of Neva Back Down is so absurd. It is surprising to see they are down 0-2 right now, I must say. Queen's going to go in and probably get herself killed again. She tends to do that. Gets a little bit too aggressive sometimes, it seems. Just really wants to win fights. Ryan gets tossed around by the Mauga and the Hog. Proving why if these characters ever got on the same team, it would be a brutal display. Never going to happen, by the way. That is surely never going to happen. If it did happen, I might have to create... rules against it, because this is a war crime. Poor Reinhardt getting absolutely shredded by the Mauga and the Bastion. This is not even close. There will be one more touch coming out from Get Good. Do they stay on the payload long enough, though? Some trades coming through. However, they're able to keep the Queen off the payload, although it looks kind of like she was on it. Not sure why I didn't pick her up. Very dominant push on Junkertown. Coming out of this Neva Back Down squad, so they might be able to pick up a map here. Esperanza and Ilios going the way of Get Good. This map seeming to be firmly in control by Neva Back Down. They had a very good push. Now all it takes is keeping them from making it to the end and you win. Or if they do make it to the end, you still have a massive time bank to work with. So definitely is going to be a long uphill battle if Get Good want to win this map in particular. Some other maps they might have better luck with. Well, with all these characters in mind, these are characters that should be about first round picks. Except for maybe Sojourn. Sojourn probably wouldn't be on the first round pick list. She is in there though, because she is quite a good hit scan. Wow. Okay. Bastion putting in work here. Able to find a few picks, and Roadhog not dying there is going to be a crucial defensive boon for Neva Back Down. They're going to keep that Hog and Mauga tank core intact with their Bastion. Might be able to hold off a few more offensive pushes from this enemy squad. Although Bastion does fall. Sojourn getting 2. She will eventually go down. Mauga gonna fall next. So a push will start here for Get Good, but this is one of those maps where you're kind of looking at it going, do we really need to win this? Or should we just go next? You are already up 2-0 in this series. Just have to get the way that you got washed on that offense by Neva Back Down is almost unrecoverable. Here comes the Mauga. He's going to push in a little bit haywire, kind of pulling a Queen moment. Zen's going to be the first to fall, though. Mauga getting very low. He will eventually fall to the Rhine's swings. Sojourn going to go down to that, or Queen, excuse me, not Sojourn. Is going to go down to that Bastion. However, all that's left is this Hog. And with 2 tanks alive, don't see the Hog standing much of a chance here. Sojourn will finish him off. And she will push forward this payload. Trying to get it to the end of this first point and boost the time bank here for Get Good. Gonna go up to 4:34 on the clock. Sojourn gonna take out that Zen. Gonna get hooked by this Roadhog, but not quite go down. Another pick gonna come in from this Orisa. She will go down eventually. Roadhog is going to ult solely into this Orisa. Just because he can, I suppose. Bastion gonna go down to the Queen and the Rhine that are on the respawn, and that'll just be the fight here for Get Good. They're gonna continue pushing this thing. See if they can make this a 3-0 lead. And then they'll only have to take one more map to get a 4-0. But it's going to be a tough ask on Junkertown, as you can see the opposing team was very good in their push. Better than yours already. Alright, so here comes the giant, the absolutely massive anti from Queen. Might not be enough to win this fight still somehow. Nope. Ryan got the pick. Sojourn getting picks on the back end. She is dueling this Roadhog. Zoning him out and hitting the rail shot into him is going to help with the Orisa. I think other than Sojourn, you might have a Torbjorn in there instead. So if Torbjorn was in there, I think this literally could be, like, this whole roster from each side could be first round picks for each and every team. Orisa is going to take down that Zen. However, all the remaining picks are going to come from one side to the other. Very good hold here coming out from Neva Back Down. They are truly never backing down despite going down 2-0. They are putting their best effort forward here against this Get Good All-Star team. Zen gonna get solo ulted. This seems like it was omnically motivated. As Ryan is not a big fan of Omnics. As we know, he did fight against them in the Omnic War, the Omnic Crisis. So, have it back down. Going to have to regroup again here. Trying to challenge this Get Good squad as they push through Junkertown. They don't have as much time as you did thus far. Ryan going for the long pin on that Malga. Not quite finishing him off. Gonna finish off the Bastion though, so a trade will happen. Zen gonna be taken down here by this Orisa. Sojourn in the small room, just poking and prodding at this Roadhog will eventually bring him down. However, there is a Malga left on this point. We know what Malga can do, but he is gonna just fall down here to Soj. As Orisa is going to continue pushing this thing forward. So, one more touch coming through here for Neva Back Down. And we are going to be heading to extra innings if the Get Good division wins this fight here. That is a massive combo of ultimates. It's probably going to lead just to the finish here. Bastion and Malga, the two remaining members of Neva Back Down, are short to fall here. So we will see another offense shortly coming out from this Get Good division to see how much farther they can go. They only get 2 minutes on the clock. Whoa, so bad compared to the 3 minutes on the other side. So not a huge, I mean, like, it is a huge gap in time bank, but if a push starts going with how this works, it won't matter. Time bank won't matter too much, especially with only a minute difference. So very offensive heavy Junkertown so far. However, on the opposite end, you have to remember that really Neva Back Down never stopped on their offense. They weren't once really challenged. So if that maintains to be true, I would expect Neva Back Down to win this one regardless. But if anything changes here and Get Good gets something going, we could see some different results on this map. Currently, already Get Good is up 2-0 in this series. They've seemingly just made less mistakes then Neva back down. But I cannot lie, Neva back down. That roster is disgusting looking, even if they are down 0-2 against Get Good currently. It just seems like that would be like the best thing ever. Okay. Zed immediately getting taken down by that Rhine. It's a good start here for Get Good. However, they're going to lose 2 members to the damage of the Bastion and the Mauga. Orisa challenging this Mauga a little bit. Getting him pretty low. The respawns are going to come in here, and this should probably turn things around. So just the 2 beefy boys that you have to deal with, and Hog's going to go down quick. Soj going to deal with that Mauga. And the push will start here, so going to be crucial these next couple fights. See just how far they can get before they are forced off. I think this next fight's going to be the most important. Mauga's coming in a little early here. I could see him feeding if he's not careful. Ryan pinning backwards, not exactly ideal here. Orisa finding that Zen very early into this fight. Sojourn and Orisa playing off this point, just poking and prodding these tanks. Ryan's going for the long pin on the Roadhog, going to finish him off there. And this is looking pretty good for Get Good so far. They could very well go up 3-0 in the series if their push continues as it is, and Bastion is going to throw a little bit here, meaning he will end up more than likely split spawned. And from what it looks like, there will be an engage, although okay, so this could very quickly go. Oh, Zen gets picked off though. Tank versus tank, baby. So Orisa will grab that touch, so we will be in OT as long as they stay near the payload. Mauga getting very low, he is going to fall. Roadhog also getting very low. He's going to fall, so like I said, here's where the time bank can really start to not matter anymore if Get Good just keeps winning fights. And Zen coming up is going to get himself expertly removed from the point. And now you just got to worry about a C9 if you are Get Good. As overtime rules tend to favor offenses almost way too much. Mauga coming in a little bit alone here. He is going to go down. Hog alive on the side. However, he is getting low. Soj is going to be the one to fall. Bastion doing a great job as engaging here. Can they stay on the payload? They get off just for a moment too long, and that is where the payload will end. So Neva back down have a place they need to get, and they need to get there quick. They got 3 minutes and 9 seconds to reach midway through the second point. They can't really afford here to waste any time though, so any one fight for Get Good is going to create some problems and tension for this squad. It's a fairly decent attack for only having 2 minutes. We will see how well Get Good can do to secure this 3-0, or if it's going to have to go 2-1, in which case the series will go on a little bit longer here. But as I said, Neva back down is so disgusting. I can't believe they are down in the series currently. I feel like they would be up considerably. In fact, I feel like they would be giving out the 3-0 right now, not the other way around. We'll see. All they have to do is have a decent offense. They have a bigger time bank to work with. Comes the Bastion, going to be a huge value. Zen going down first though. Bastion going to get traded out, so 3-on-2 on the point. However, Queen is going to go down, so make that a 2-on-2. Sojourn probably going to get picked off here as she is a light squishy. She is stalling out the cart a little bit longer. Chris is going to come in to contest this just for a bit more time. She's going to take out the Hog actually on her way out. So a little bit more stall provided by the Orisa and the Soj there to take off about half a second of this timer. See how well they can do on the re-engage. So a similar problem to the Mauga coming through here for Get Good, as Queen getting a little bit aggressive here. As per normal, she does get punished for it almost immediately. A bunch of cooldowns going into her, but she manages to pick up the Zen and Sojourn on the back and is going to take out that Bastion while he is popping the death mode. Ryan going to take Roadhog for a swim down in that river. Actually, Ryan going to go in the river, but anyways. Mauga versus Horse on the point here. Could very easily go Mauga's way. And it will with a little bit of help from her Zen, or from the Zen. Junker Queen going to go down to the spam of the Bastion, and this is looking very much possible here for the side of Neva back down. Fortunately, if you are Get Good, you did have a full reset on the transition there. Only problem is Queen just gets so aggressive. The pin not finding much value at all. However, a pick is found on the... Oh my, what is going on? Orisa able to... What is going on, chat? Mauga gonna fall to this Orisa. Fortunately for this Orisa, though, I think this could just be the end, as I don't think we're going to see a recontest in time here. So, going to be a Neva back down map victory on Junkertown. We are going to have to go the extra mile here, unless Junker Queen can't get this touch. Let's see here. Does she grab it? Roadhog is going so far forward here. Does grab the hook onto the Queen. Can Queen grab this touch? She will go for it. She's going to grab it. Don't know if anyone else is going to be here to follow up. It doesn't look like it. That will be it. So, 1 map to 2. Neva back down does win a map in the series this time around. They're going to have to hope on some more payload, it looks like. Payload seems to be where they hold the advantage. Alright, going to Perisu, so this is a good sign for Neva back down. You're going to another payload-orientated map after you just won the last one, so you could see yourselves extending this to a tied game 2-2. As it does seem like your team has a little bit of an advantage when payloads are involved, at least from what it seems. But that remains to be seen. We'll see how the teams match up on the defense here. Get Good going to be there first. It has been a stellar matchup so far, though, showing why these heroes are some of the best we have in Overbots. Obviously, there are some teams that are built better than others due to how drafting works, and trades, of course, playing into this a little bit, as I did trade away some of my better pieces to someone else, although even though I traded my better pieces, I ended up with a team that was better. So sometimes it's more about the team composition rather than how good the hero is. The concept behind my team being tanks that die and DPS behind them to do the damage, and it worked out against the 2 bottom teams in Overbots, but that's about it. Alright, here comes Neva back down. They are looking to engage, trying to get another map here if they can. Not a great start, as Zen is going to be the first to fall. Bastion going down next, and as you can see, this is probably the reason why these fights happen the way they are. When they engage, if there's too much ground to cover, having the spam from the Orisa and the spam from the Sojourn, it just does so much damage with how those rail shots going in and such. And all you have on the other side, I'm sure that Bastion does a good chunk of damage, but he's not as much spam per se. He more so has to just like beam a target down. Zen gonna fall first again to the scrutiny of the Orisa and the Sojourn. They just pick her off. Pick him off. Seemingly every fight here. A lethal duo. They've never been on the same team. Sojourn has spent a lot of time with Winston on her side, so not an ideal candidate for a teammate, but it's showing that these two together are quite threatening, as well as the Rhine shield in front of them. A pin coming out from this Rhine. He's going to get on this Bastion. Half HP already. And Orisa and Queen and Rhine are going to deal with this Hog once more. And this is scarily looking like a full hold here on Perisu by this very scary looking Get Good composition. Haven't given enough respect, but it is quite good too. So despite Neva Back Down looking like a terrifying team, it seems like Get Good is a terrifying team. Especially because they are actually like kind of diffing at times here. Some trades favoring Get Good here. However, there are 2 members left on the side of Neva Back Down. Hog, however, is not long for this world, it doesn't seem. They did get a little bit closer to winning this one, but not quite enough. Ultimates on the side of Get Good are building up quite rapidly. And this next fight is where it's going to come to blows here. That Sojourn ult, the Shatter, the Orisa ult, everything online for the side of Get Good. You have a few ults on the other side, namely the Roadhog. The Bastion ult should be online soon, but that ult's not that great. A huge anti! Absolute massive ult by the Queen is just going to win this fight outright. And that saves her team using other ults. Hog wastes his ult in that fight as well, and Get Good is actually kind of frying here. So one more attack coming through for Neva Back Down, but it looks like they're about to get full held on Perisu, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was strictly those escort maps where they're forced into close proximity, where they can really shine. Here comes the Bastion ult. Don't think anyone should die to this. Zen's going to come in a little early. That's going to get punished. Orisa getting pretty low here, but the Shatter's pretty fat. Sojourner's going to pop her ult and kill 2. Only the Bastion's left, and that is going to be a full hold here on Perisu by the Sojourn, Junker Queen, Orisa, and Reinhardt. Very powerful looking composition in their own right. And proving it here right now is maybe even the better team all around, as Perisu is going very heavily in their favor. Although we have seen a draw recently on a hybrid map, so maybe we'll see another one here. Who knows? Could be an issue pushing into this much spam. Might create some difficulties. Remains to be seen though. They seem to have a lot of advantages at long range. With their Orisa and their Sojourn. Spam is just painful for the opposition. Alright, here we go. Can Get Good secure match point 3-1. and attempt to close this series out in a future map. Remains to be seen. Let's go right now, right here, see if they can get any picks to start this off. I could very well see them shredding through this Reinhardt when he pushes up. Oh my gosh. The damage is so crazy. Just not going to be enough done here by Get Good on this first offense. Will result in a fairly quick team fight victory for Neva back down. Ursa and Junker Queen going to be on the back burner on those spawns a little bit. Not working out great for them. Zen's going to be back by the time they re-engage here. If it continues like that, this could very well easily be a draw, and we could be going even farther into this series. Team not exactly grouped up here. Zen's going to drop the Discord, which might have been a little bit of a problem here, as Zen is going to fall, and Sojourn is going to pick this squad apart now. Queen and Soj working together to get those final blows. Soj getting 3 final blows in that fight will lead to a Perisu victory for Get Good. Now, my division is 1 away from taking this exhibition showing. We are out of the grand finals, though, so even though we might have the better overall heroes, we don't have the better overall teams, it seems. Alright, we're going to Halloween, so another hybrid map here for Get Good to defend on first. I think this one might be a little bit easier for Neva back down to push on, frankly. Oh. Interesting. Okay, I don't even notice those were down there before. Okay. So all left for Get Good is to win one more map. They do have another hybrid. Another potential for a full hold if they can pull it off. I don't think they will on this map. This map is a little bit more choky, if that makes sense. Like, they don't just have like a giant thing they can shoot into. We'll see though. Full hold definitely possible again. Wasn't much issue to push through Neva back down last time for Get Good. Only struggling on that first fight. Second fight easily went in their favor. So it is remaining to be seen if Neva back down can get back into the series. They are already down to match point. They only have one map in this series. So it's going to create a lot of work for them to do if they want to get back into this one. Here they come though, regardless. Roadhog getting in pretty deep. He's going to get pinned away. Ryan's going to get shredded for his mistake. However, the health bars. Junker Queen putting in work, but not enough. So eventually Roadhog and Malga will shred through, but they almost turned that despite losing the Ryan immediately. That was a good push by Neva back down. As you can see, this map a little bit harder to full hold like that on. Perisu is kind of built for that with what they're running and how they operate on these points. But Hollywood's a little bit more difficult to do that on. Ryan just going to get himself fed into the blender once more. This comp is very hard to run into. That will be another very easy team fight victory for Neva back down. Malga, Hog, Bastion, Zen is despicable. Alright, here we go. Zen immediately dispatching of that Discord orb, going to eliminate the Rhine from contention immediately in this fight. That was This is the same thing happening over and over again, expecting a different result from the Ryan. He pushes in all alone, gets annihilated, and goes again. As you can see, the kills coming in way higher on the side of Neva back down on this map. Ryan 0 for 3, not doing much of anything as he pushes into his death over and over again. Looks like he might make the same mistake here. Roadhog getting very low from that ult. Not going to fall though. Instead, Neva back down. Going to continue pushing through here in a very dominant fashion. They are doing quite well on Hollywood. So they might be able to go up 2-3, but they'll still need to win another one to tie it, and then the one after that in order to secure the series for themselves. However, all that this Get Good squad needs to do is focus up a little bit and win one more map. However, Neva back down, doing an absolutely wonderful job of kiting out Get Good there. They will continue pushing. Once again, Ryan foolhardily pushing in. Queen able to get 2. This is going to result in a teamfight victory here for Get Good, I believe. Well, Roadhog is still alive, though. That's one of those heroes that you can never really count out, it feels like. He is very low, though, and Hog is going to be dealt with by the Soj and the Queen. So, basically have 20 seconds off the clock from when you started this map, based on time bank. However, now, a little bit harder of a position to push for this Neva back down squad. They do a good job rotating around them, but a trade, Queen for the Zen. Doesn't seem like it's going to mean a whole lot here, as Sojourn and Ryan and Orisa are going to fall, and this could just be the point. I don't think we're going to see a recontest because they're not really programmed to run out without regrouping first. It's a bit odd programming, but it is what it is. Oh no, Queen is out here. Queen will sacrifice her life for the point. She does indeed get out there. She uses her shout a little late so she can stay alive. Sojourn going to finish off that Bastion. It's off the side. Zen trying to push this payload. However, Ryan noticing it's going to retreat back. Hog is now on the point. 2 tanks against 2 tanks, but Mauga and Hog going to be able to zone out this Ryan and push it in. So, a very rough time here for Get Good on Hollywood. Stark difference to Perisu. As this Neva back down squad was able to push through this map with 2 minutes and 32 seconds on the clock. Another one of those maps where you gotta look at it as a Get Good division player and say, yeah, you know what, maybe we should just go next because we just need to win one of the remaining 2 maps after this one. Very possible for them to do so, as we've seen previously, so this is one of those maps where you kind of just go GG, go next. Neva back down, showing a very good, very good part of their team here on these payload maps. I think they would have done better on Perisu if it was more constructed like this first point. Lots of narrow chokes. But since it had a long sight line for Orisa and Sojourn to abuse, they could shred them on their entry. I think the defense is going to get a lot better here for Neva back down. If I had to gander a guess, if I had to predict how this is going to go, I'd say this could be a full hold in reverse here. So, we could see a very similar story to what happened on Perisu here. So the map structure does favor Neva back down quite a bit. Less of that spam can get out. From the Sojourn and the Orisa. Ryan might just get picked off again here as he's left all alone. But some picks coming through here. Making this a little bit more winnable, but only Queen alive will spell disaster for Get Good. As the full hold very much possible here. Bastion shield gonna get absolutely torn through here. However, they do wait that Bastion turret mode out. They are going to eventually kill him in the trades. They do not get the Mauga though, so this is looking more and more like a full hold on Hollywood. Almost like I predicted at the very beginning of their attack. We'll see though. Once ults get online, it might be a little bit of a different story. We'll see. Bastion, Zen, Roadhog, all about to reach their ults. Mauga somehow straggling behind so far. What is wrong with Mauga, man? He's been a different man since going to 4v4. Okay. So some trades coming through here, but not going to be enough. And I think this is just going to be a full hold. So, last map, the reverse was true. Get Good full held Neva back down on Perisu. Of course, they didn't have to do a full attack beforehand. Before doing so, we don't know how well their attack would have gone on Perisu. We just know they got the first tick. Probably the first point too, because they did win that fight. So they would have got at least the first point. Okay, Mauga kind of feeding a little bit there, however. Some ultimates from... Oh, Zen's gonna go down. Okay, this is looking like eventually Get Good will get the job done. I almost want them to get full health so I can just go to the next map, but instead we are gonna have to suffer through more of this map, despite almost certainly it being Never Back Down victory and changing the series score to a 3-2. But instead we will be forced to endure as a huge, oh my word, what a waste of Shatter. Ursa able to pick up the 2. Queen gonna go down, however, Soj gonna be able to pick up that Zen. Mauga getting on that Sojourn, but he's gonna get staggered out as he is super far in the back line. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They have less time on this point than the other squad has on the time bank. Hog going around back. Ryan gonna be picked off here. Roadhog gonna go down. Bastion getting pretty low here. He actually could fall to the Orisa spam. Not quite though. Zen could go down, or Bastion. Really either one. I think Zen will fall, so somehow, some way, Get Good winning that fight. Gonna continue pushing this thing, so what we thought was gonna be a full hold is slowly turning into an okay push. by Get Good. You also going to have a pretty decent time bank to get through this last point, but not like nothing too insane. 2 minutes 54 on the clock. They'll have to finish with time if they want a chance at this map. I mean, the way they've been getting full held on that first point does not give me any like hope that they will win this map regardless. So feels like we are on the third point just to witness them losing. Unfortunately, here they come. They are all going to go out the bottom spawn door. Bastion's going to get a little bit cut off from his team here, and that's probably going to result in his demise. Actually, Zen's going to go down first, and then Bastion. So only the Mauga and the Hog left. They might be able to deal with this Sojourn. She's pretty low. She does actually get out with her life. Mauga's going to be the first to fall. Roadhog just kind of staggering himself out here. Not exactly a great play from a great player. He is typically an excellent bot, but right now he's not playing great because this is just going to prove to stagger him, I think. Maybe not. We'll see. And yeah, it will just prove to stagger him, so some ultimates online here. Sojourn able to pick up 2. Bringing the Mauga very low. Might be able to finish that kill off too. She does. So Sojourn getting 3 in that fight. Gonna start pushing this payload. She is up to 10k damage. She's doing almost as much damage as Bastion. And they might just be able to cash it in here, but man, I gotta think, is it really worth it to go to another offensive round? You already know the offense from your squad was a little bit worse than the offense of the Mauga squad, so it's going to be rough here with a lot less time to win this, but they do want a chance to finish this match before it can get to another map here. So they are giving themselves that opportunity. If they have a decent offense, I'll give them a chance, but this very well could just be a Neva back down victory prolonged by the ego of the Get Good players. As it seemed like Neva back down had that one in the bag, and it still does seem that way, doesn't it? The same thing kind of happened on Junkertown. Both teams finished, but Neva back down did have more time. Here is much of the same. So we will see about 1, maybe 2 attacks from Get Good, and that'll be it. And then on the other side, Neva back down will get about 2 attempts, maybe 3. Actually, probably 3 attempts. And as we know, the difference between these squads is that Neva back down actually managed to get it in 1, and Get Good took up until like basically they were an OT. So I fully expect this to be a wash. Ryan's going to hold up that shield. He is going to fall immediately though, regardless. Zen's going to be traded out here. And that will be that. So one more fight coming through here for Get Good, but that is all they're going to get. Zen on his way back. He will be back in time for this fight. So I'm not too sure if any semblance of a push is possible here with how they've been pushing this map, especially with Ryan being up so close in front here. They are focusing this Orisa crucially. This might actually help them out a little bit here. Zen is going to fall for the Orisa. 3 on 2 here, but a solid lead for... Oh, so they do grab a tick. So, you know, I guess they do have a win condition, but they have to full hold. Which I don't think is going to happen. So I guess you give them the extra attempt for the chance to win. Which, you know, is alright, I suppose, for Get Good, but you're going to have to do something you haven't been able to do on this map yet, which is win a fight on this first point, essentially. I mean, you did win one, technically, but Did you really win if you had to use all those ults? Did you really win? Did you really win? Okay. Get Good do have an opportunity to close out the 4-1 right here, but they'll have to pull out a hold that we haven't seen from them on this map yet. Oh my word. Somehow I got into Sojourn's POV on accident. Haven't seen too much success on this Hollywood hold, not like Perry Sue where they full held, so we're going to have to see them do something way better than what we saw initially from this squad when the other team had 4 minutes on the clock. So we will see. A chance right now for Get Good to take this away in a 4-1 fashion, because they did get that tick. However, I do think this is going to go Neva back down's way, and we are going to be headed into a map, map 6. A trade is going to happen here. The Sojourn actually lines up a few targets, so 2-on-1 on point, and it looks like there will be a fight win. There will be one fight win here. Dropping both of their tanks. However, Orisa and Soj getting the job done. Actually, Queen. It was Queen and Soj. Excuse me. I'm sorry. No disrespect on you, Queen. You are doing very well in this matchup as well. Okay. So, a couple more pushes to come through here that they need to halt if they really want to win this one. Roadhog getting down to about half. Does get a little bit of control over the point. However, he is going to survive for a little bit longer. Zen's going to be the first one to fall. Bastion and Hog going down at the same time. So Malka is going to pick up a 1, but that's not going to be enough here. 1 minute and 22 seconds on the clock. You got to think they have about 2 more attacks left on this point. So that is about how much time Get Good had on their offense to start. Boom. So 30 seconds on the clock here. .30 seconds left here. Can Get Good do this? It's possible. There are some ults on the board for Get Good. This could be a 4-1 here. Roadhog all alone on the point here. Bastion getting absolute value though, so I think this is just going to be it. So they do all of that work just to give it up at the last second. And that will be it. So, Neva back down, winning that one finally, will bring us to a 3-2 scoreline, and we are going to be heading to Oasis. So get good, one map away from victory. Never back down, never what. Have to win 2 more maps to win this. Very close series. Two squads that seem to rival each other fairly well here in the 4v4 format. We will see what they have in store for each other on this final map. Or on the second to last map, excuse me, I'm sorry. Wow, Zen going down immediately. Great pick by the Sojourn. However, shield up, able to keep the Queen alive a little bit longer is going to be just enough to win that fight. Queen picking off 3 with her final blows. Alright, Roadhog going to push in here. I'm going to go down a half. Looking at these other people, he is going to go down. Bastion also going to fall. Trades favoring Get Good at the moment. Alright, a trade happening. Zen for Queen. It's going to result in Never Back Down point flip and victory there. As Reinhardt is kind of forced to wander purgatory as he's going to go. Boy, he's going back up the bad way. Oh, wait. Maybe not. Maybe he's being a little bit more intelligent about this than I had initially thought. Never mind. He is going up the bad way. So Ryan is going to get shredded here. In an awful attempt at decision making. Roadhog's also going to fall down that hole though. But that doesn't seem to matter too much for the side of Never Back Down, as they will be winning that fight fairly handily. Roadhog easily going to path his way back up. And they have a large lead on this point. Okay, Reinhardt gonna go down, Sojourn gonna fall soon, and here we go. Never Back Down are gonna secure this point. So, point? What am I saying? I said pernt? What the heck is that? Okay, so that is going to be this for Never Back Down. They are gonna take the first point on Oasis. Gonna be headed into that next one. One. Alright, here we go. Second point on Oasis. Never back down, lead this map, giving themselves a good chance at coming back into the series. Sojourn going to be able to take that first pick. Trade, though, will come through. Bastion getting very low on the side. And Roadhog going to go down. So, a mirror image to what happened on the first round on University. Pretty much. As Get Good will take the first cap against Neva back down here. Mauga in there all alone. He's probably just going to feed, as his team is kind of far away, so that is an unfortunate feed by the Mauga. Bastion coming back in. He is going to trade that queen out, but his Zen is going to fall behind him. And Sojourn going to go down here. Bastion doing his best, but he will get jabbed out. And that is going to be a pretty solid hold for the side of Get Good. Holding on to that percentage, building up. So, Never Back Down are going to have to lock it in a little bit here if they want to win this one. However, if they don't, they still have an opportunity on that last point on Oasis to stay alive in this series and send us to a map 7. So, very good series so far from both squads. Roadhog gonna get that, or get pinned. Zen gonna get jabbed and taken out systematically by that Orisa. The pin comes through. He's gonna finish off that Rhine. However, Queen and Sojourn are still alive here on this point. Not quite anymore, as the two tanks will barely out-sustain the rest of the squad and cap this point at 75%. So now Never Back Down are in a good position to maybe fully hold this. Okay, Ryan absolutely feeding his brains out. However, there will be a trade. Not a very impactful trade here, though. Orisa's still alive on this point, but that's about it. And that's probably going to be the fight victory there for Never Back Down. A lot of ults on the table here for Get Good. Just a matter of cycling those together to get some value. It's going to be the real question of if they can do it. Boom. Alright, so it looks like Get Good will win this fight. %. 90% on the board and building. Lots of ults on the board here for Get Good. However, one wasted. Not an ideal spot to put that. Bastion getting very low on the side, but he is going to be able to take out some enemies, and this could very well go Never Back Downs. Living up true to their name here. Ultimates falling through the cracks there a little bit for the side of Get Good. So I'm gonna go hover over this point real quick. One more fight coming through. Looks like Never Back Down is actually gonna secure Oasis and send us to a map 7. So many map 7s. These sets have been insanely long today. A huge shatter. Okay, never mind. Not quite yet. So this will go the way of Get Good, as Sojourn and Rhine working together to lay down the enemy squad. Take a dub there. Alright. So it will come down to the final point on Oasis to see if Never Back Down can stay in the series. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Okay, so it looks like Neva back down are going to come back into this one. Win it pretty convincingly here. So only 36 on the board for Get Good. Neva back down are fighting tooth and claw. Yeah. It's going to be another fight win for Neva back down, so it looks like we're going to be heading towards a map 7, man. This has been a long series, much longer than the last show match. As we are getting this 7 map special today. Never back down, just living up to their name. Truly never backing down from this series. They were down to start this thing 0-2. They have lost one since then. However, they have been competitive or winning in the majority of these maps. So, Get Good will have about one more attempt at this point. They do have some ults to work with here. On the other side, there is some ults to work with for Never Back Down. Could be a brutal fight coming up here. So I'm going to get Fire Strike down a little bit. However, Ryan is just going to fall over. So it looks like it will be Never Back Down winning this map and sending us to a map 7. Which, honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed with because holy cow, this is taking forever. Okay. Okay. I don't think I will do the Grand Finals match tonight, as this is going much longer than I anticipated, but I might still. You never know with me. Today has been all over bots, as I have gone through a lot of 7 map series, and it's just funny to me that they keep coming, even in the show match, where you don't expect things to be necessarily balanced. But in this one, it was. Jeez. Alright, Coliseo. Alright, final map in this series. One way or another, one of these teams will be taking it home right here and right now. It has been a long series. Did not expect the show match to go on this long. I kind of expected Neva Back Down to fully dominate, get good. Instead, they gave up 2 maps at the beginning to them, and then dropped the map, getting full held on Perisu. So it's been a very back and forth series here, surprisingly, and actually quite close. So two evenly matched squads, absolutely aiming for the throat here. 2 very high-powered, high-octane teams in their own right. Probably would beat either of the teams currently in the lead, I assume, because these are like super teams, like super duper teams. I feel like, I don't know, I think they would beat AI and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. They just seem like they're on another level. Alright, here we go. 11 seconds until this point is going to unlock, and the carnage will start right now, though. Mauga's getting in a little bit deep here. He is going to get very low. Probably going to get punished for this. He goes down to half. Going to lose 3 for 1 trade here, as Get Good is going to win that first fight. Very important fight to win. Did we play on Coliseo already? Chat? I hope not. Boom. Alright, so, get out of the way. Did we play on this map already? I'm sorry if we did, guys. I'm not resetting, though. Did we already play on this map? I don't remember. I think we played on a push map. No, we played on a Esperanza, right? Yeah. I think that's what happened. Okay, I see. So we have had a push map, and last time it also went kind of like this, with Get Good kind of dominating, so looks like it's a repeat of what happened earlier in this series. Reinhardt pushing forward. Zen going to be tossing this Rein around a little bit. He does get very low. He is eventually going to fall. However, Zen going to fall down himself. Orisa going to be able to take out that Roadhog. Bastion is back, and he's able to deal with the Orisa. Sojourn and Bastion going to be fighting alone on point. However, Bastion is going to win that 1v1 like 9 out of 10 times, so almost guaranteed. Bastion's going to continue pushing this payload by himself. I think that is a very unwarranted decision. So the rest of his team is going to take a little bit of time to regroup with him, and the fight is going to come to him before his team does. So, Bastion all alone with the enemy squad. He is very low HP in the back line. He does have that Bastion form up. However, it is going to result in some quick trades, but still, the Mauga and the Roadhog working pretty well together here, despite all the ultimates online in the enemy team here. Does seem to be the point of Mauga and Hog working together to absolutely decimate. So, looks like Get Good is going to come in here and win one fight. Reinhardt is very low though here. There's no spawn advantage on the side of not Krusty Krusher. What am I saying? No diff. No. What the frick am I saying? This is not a team. This is Never Back Down. Excuse me, chat. I'm so cooked. Okay. Almost reminds me of Krusty Krusher's last season, just minus the Hog and the Bastion, and added Torbjorn. And that is going to be the fight win. Very dominant here from Never Back Down. They are truly never backing down, and they might even win this series. Show match being an absolute show. It's not on my bucket list here. I did, like I said, so it looks like eventually Never Back Down will push through here a little bit. Ryan all alone on this point with his queen. Not gonna get a whole lot of value. Here comes the Zen ultimate. Looking like eventually Never Back Downs are gonna completely erase this deficit and start to win this match. It's kind of a crazy story here being crafted in this Never Back Down division fight, although that ult was absolutely freaking massive from Queen. Zen being the last one standing here, not great for him. He is going to get sent flying into that wall. So we will see as Get Good regains control over this push bot. Any spawn advantage will be lost for both teams here. Zen's looking very low. He's going to fall. Queen's going to go down in retaliation, though. Good fight coming through here from the side of Never Back Down. Arissa's going to take a little bit of time to get off this point, but she eventually will fall. So here, boom, boom. All right, here they go. Comes oh, okay, so some trades coming out here to help a little bit for the side. Oh my word, Zen popping off. Gonna be Malga versus Orisa on the point. This is a reminders of Season 1 overbots between Krusty Krushers and the Gooders right here as the 1v1 of the century is being faced out. What is going on? They're rotating. They just keep rotating. Eventually, Arissa's team will be back to help her out. That was hilarious to witness, nonetheless. Could see an awkward situation of rotation bots happening here. And it looks like we might just see that happen. This could result in a very poor fate for one of these two teams. We'll see. It actually will result in a very poor fate. For the side of Get Good, it looks like. Well, no, I think the horse wins this. She does. So even losing to because they don't quite get the spawn advantage there. That was actually kind of a huge pin by the Rhine to bring that Zen ult out of the fight. However, it looks like at the same time, Neva back down is still probably going to win this fight. We'll have to see though. Bastion's still going to be removed. But it is a 1v1 here, and the point is moving ever closer for Neva back down. So it looks like Neva back down, despite the opening sequences of these matches, is eventually going to come out on top here. Although I could very easily see some people getting staggered here. Malga going to go down. That's going to be a long respawn timer to contend with. Zen going to fall. Bastion going to fall. Zen going to fall. Going to be some extremely long respawn timers here. See if they can cap this before they come in. They do, so not everyone is going to get that spawn. In fact, basically no one will. Malga's going to be picked off here. And they will just continue pushing forward. So a lot of ults online here for Get Good. Although, are they going to make this happen? They might just do it. They do pick off 2 more, and the respawn timers are just so long. There's no way, right? There's no way this is how it ends. You were never back down. Retaliation efforts. They got so close. Oh, but the thing is, the respawns, they just keep respawning and pushing in. Not a great sign at all for Never Back Down. The problem is that they are never backing down at the moment. There will be about one more fight here, I think. However, they're going to be booped back, and wow. Okay, so they put all that effort in, and then Get Good wins the 7th map anyways. So, Get Good remains on top in the exhibition series. Funny to witness just how hard this other team was fighting for it. Falling just short on that final map. Brutal display there. GG to my fellow division. Good job, Get Good. I'm surprised we beat this. Go next.